Okay, it's been a while since I've went live. I am sitting in the parking lot of the grocery store. My husband's not in the store. I'm having trouble with my foot, so I'm having trouble with my bad leg. So I'm just gonna sit here and do a video. It's been a while since I went live, and I thought I'd do a video on my DoorDash journey. I dashed for 5 years. Roll up the window a little bit. I dashed for 5 years, and I did pretty good. Um, I had a lot of customers requesting me when that option was available, and I made pretty good tips. And I I was able to help pay bills. I was able to help my children. Came, they call and ask me they're short or whatnot. Groceries, gas, doctor bills. I remember my youngest. Mom, can you cash at me $15? Mom, can you cash at me $20? They changed my doctor appointment. So I was able to help my children. I was able to help my husband. He's short on his paycheck because, where he works, they take the federal holidays. And sometimes their work truck would break down and he would miss a couple of days. So I'd be able to renew his phone and stuff like that. And I was able to keep us fed. It wasn't steak and potatoes. It wasn't lobster, but it was food. And it kept us alive. So this video is about my DoorDash journey. Last August our truck broke down. And I really don't want to go into what was done, but there was arrests made. They arrested that person. So, um, we wasn't able to fix the truck. And our mechanic, he doesn't work on vehicles anymore because he's gotten too old. So, my DoorDash journey kind of came to a halt, a standing halt. Hi, C, how are you? So, um, my door dashing journey came to a halt because we couldn't get my truck fixed. So you can't dash on an e-scooter. We don't have no bike dashing paths in my town. So I just kind of focused on my other things I was doing and staying at home and just kind of, you know. So when you're dashing, it's very important to not just maintain your vehicle. It's very important to be vigilant, you know, watch your vehicle, where you're at, where you're going. Watch the people around your vehicle. Now, for the last 7 months, I've been cooped up in the house. You see. And today, I'm in the parking lot of the grocery store. I'm in my husband's truck. my brother-in-law gave my husband this truck, and it's to go to the store, to go to work. And my brother-in-law, it's understandable. He said no dashing, no dashing in the truck. And we're waiting on a part for this vehicle. He said to just take it easy, go to the store, go back and forth to work, and just do it like that. So my door dashing journey came to a halt. And even my bank asked me, "Are you still dashing?" Well, yeah, we're waiting for a part. As soon as we get that part, we're going to go back to dashing. Now, with the price of gas going up, there's a lot of people. See, I don't know if you can see it, but these parking lots used to be full, packed with cars, packed with people. And I was talking to two other dashers, and they said there's dashes to be had because people don't have gas to go to the store. They're saving their gas to go to work. There's dashes to be gotten. Every time I log into my Dasher app to see what's going on, it is lit up red, and there's lots of dashes gotten. And I'm thinking, we're missing out on an opportunity here. We're missing out on a ton of money. And I told my husband, he says, we just gotta wait. We just gotta wait. And I don't even know what the part is that we're waiting for. But we just gotta wait and be patient. And we're going back dashing. We're gonna go back dashing. Not as often as I was. Because like I said, I'm known as the crippled dasher in my town. Because I walk with a cane. Because I need surgery on my right leg. I need surgery on the right leg. I need a steel rod where there's a broken bone that broke in half and didn't heal back together. So they know me as the crippled dasher. And I didn't call myself that, but lots of people in town call me that. And so, and there's a lot of people in town who say, "Hey, we're proud of you. For 5 years, you got out there and you dashed." There's a lot of people who tell me they're proud of me for getting out there and dashing. I dashed for a long time by myself, and I just figured out how to do it. Well, holding on to a cane. I only have one hand to grab stuff. I figured out a way to dash like that by myself. But one day I got knocked down and my truck was almost stolen. Just so happens a police cruiser coming around the corner, and he rescued me and he saved my truck. And then another time something bad happened at a store. And then another time I fell down some stairs. And that was when the police said, "Don't dash without your husband." Because I have to walk with a cane. So me and my husband started dashing. And a lot of people, because his name is Abel and my name is April, they called us the A team. See? So we was the A team dashing. The A dashers is what a lot of people called us. So we had a lot of fun dashing. And my husband was saying last weekend, the weekends are boring without your dashing. Because we get up, do what we had to do, and about 10, 11 o'clock, log in, go dash. I would dash for about 2 hours and then log off. I'd have to rest. "Hi, how are you?" It's over HC8. So we're on Sundays we go dashing in the evening. On the weekends I would dash in the morning and then rest a little bit and then dash in the evening. And then when my husband went to work, I would dash when he got home from work. We'd go dashing. And we didn't realize, yeah, it's $2 a delivery plus tips. You get $2 a delivery plus tips. Now, one of the dashers here in town told me that they bumped it up to $2.50 because of the gas prices going up. So even at $2 a delivery plus the tips, you don't realize how much that little bit of money adds up. I was making anywhere between $400 and $600 a month just dashing for 3-4 hours in the evening, and that was really helping out our house. You know, um, we would run out of stuff like laundry soap. Hey, I got the dash money. Let's go get some laundry soap. You know, or hey, we use the last of the potatoes. Well, let's go to the store. I got my dash money. I got my dash paycheck. Let's go get some potatoes. You see, it really helped us out a lot. If there was something extra I wanted that wasn't in our budget, that wasn't covered by what my husband was making, I would save up and I would order it. I would go buy it, you know. Like I wanted some summer shirts. Well, our budget is real tight. And so, especially with inflation hitting, so I would just save up $1 this day, $2 that day, and then at the end of the month, I could go get me a summer shirt, or I could get a winter sweater. You see, I've bought me and my husband winter hats and gloves and scarves, and that money was put to good use, is what I'm trying to say. We used it for things we needed, and since last August, my husband's really starting to realize how much my dashing helped out our family, helped out our household income. And so we're just waiting on a part for his truck so that I can go dashing again. Well, that's good that you're doing good. I'm glad you're doing good. So we didn't even, my husband even noticed that, oh, you're more mopey, you're more grumpy, because we're humans and we're made to interact with other people. We're not made to just be isolated, and getting out there dashing, you have to deal with the cashiers and the restaurant staff, and then you gotta deal with the people that you're delivering to, and that interaction is like the best, you know. So right now, because we're waiting on the part and can't go dash, right now what we're doing is we're being proactive. We're watching our gas tank, and we're watching our miles. How many miles can we get on a gallon? How many miles can we get on a quarter of a tank? How many? We took him back and forth to work. And now where my husband works, he don't really like cars parked in front of the building. And he prefers that if you have a spouse, you drive your vehicle home or you get dropped off by somebody. And so we would go in the morning and drop him off, and I would drive the truck back home, and then go through my daily routine. And so at home, so we watched our gas mileage. We watched our gas tank. Now it's about half a mile to where he works and half a mile back to the house. And he would just where he would get dropped off. So I wouldn't have to go pick him up. So that's about a mile a day. So that's 5 miles the first week, 5 miles the second week. And we only made like one trip to the store. And the store we went to was not even half a mile from the house. So for the first 2 weeks, we watched our gas head. And it was maybe a quarter of a tank that we used. So right now, while we're waiting for the part, so I can go dashing. Right now, what we're doing is we're watching our gas mileage. We're checking our oil. Is it using oil? We're lucky it's not using oil. He hasn't had to add any oil. He's checked the water. The water's good. So we're doing all of this like pre dash analysis of this vehicle. We've also like in here, like, look, it's smaller in this vehicle than it is in my Dodge Ram. My Dodge Ram is like huge compared to this one. I start calling my Dodge the mama Dodge and this one the baby Dodge. But see, it don't even have this big huge area here. And the seats, look, the seats are smaller. I just put the McDonald's bags here in my Dodge, and look, it's just tiny in here. So I mean, I appreciate having a truck, but from a dasher's point of view, this truck is gonna be hard to dash in. It's small in here. So from a dasher's point of view, I'm looking at all of this, and it doesn't have the side steps where I can climb up on the side step and get in. It's hard for me being crippled and having to use a cane, because this part of my leg here needs a steel rod because of the bone. One of the bones is broken half and it didn't heal right back together. So from a dasher's point of view, this truck is hard to get in and out of. It would be hard to dash every day. Getting in and out, for me, it would be hard to do. So my husband's looking at getting the side steps put on. And he looked at a truck the other day and he's like, oh, wow, look at those. And I said, yeah, they make the smaller ones where it's just like big enough for your foot. You don't have to get one that runs all along the side of the truck like my Dodge has. So he was like, well, what if we get one of those and have somebody put it on the truck? It would be easier for you to get in and out of. And I said, that might work right there. If this truck is, sometimes you can't put those on trucks because there's nothing underneath there to bolt them up to. So we're looking at all these different things, and we're trying to figure out, is this vehicle dash worthy? Is it dashable? And then also we're watching the gas prices. And while we're watching the gas prices, we're gathering our information, you see. We're gathering our information about how much gas does this truck use for how many miles, and how much is the price of gas. $25 worth of gas the other night got us 6 gallons. And we're looking at, okay, $25, 6 gallons. Is the dasher pay worth putting $25 in or $30 in? I mean, $50 to fill the tank. So is If you, yeah. So, so we're looking at that too. Is is the price of gas, the cost of gas, versus what you get paid as a dasher? Is it worth that little bit of money? I mean, in some places, dashers are making $100, $200 a day. In some places, dashers are making 300 and 400. It depends on your city, how many people are in your city. The bigger cities, you're going to make more money. But in my city, like I said, I can make $400 to $500, $600 a month, depending on how often I dash, how long I dash. Like on Saturdays, sometimes on the weekends, we just dash in the evening. We don't dash in the morning because we gotta go to his mom's and do stuff, or we got stuff to do at the house or whatnot. So we're looking at is the cost of gas versus the pay you make dashing. Is it worth it? And there's a lot of dashers that aren't dashing anymore. There's a lot of new dashers that are dashing. See, so, but I'm noticing too. I'm watching the parking lots. How many people's out shopping versus how many people's using DoorDash. You know, as the cost of gas goes up, more dash orders are coming in. So, because a lot of times I'll log in, and this is my DoorDash journey. A lot of times I'll log in and it'll be 30 minutes, it'll be an hour. Then I ding, 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 and then I go pick it up, drop it off, go back to the house, and it's another 30 minutes before I get another one. I know there for a while, dashes were very slim, and it was for about a whole year. It was slim pickings. I'd get maybe 2 or 3 dashes the whole evening. And I started looking around. Why am I not getting 5 and 6 and 7 dashes? What's going on? Why did my dashes go down? You know, I had bought new jeans to dash in. I had bought new shirts. I was like wearing holiday hats and stuff. I'm like, why didn't my... So I started counting how many dashers are at this place. How many dashers are... I started counting. I may not know their names, but I know their face. So I started counting. And I'm like, at one point, we had almost 1,000 dashers on the road here in town, on the same shift, on the same time frame. And I'm like, this is why my dashers went down. Because the more dashers you have, the less dashes are being assigned. So, so instead of getting a dash and then 5 minutes later getting another dash, it was taking 30 minutes and an hour before I got another dash, because there was almost 1,000 of us at the same time logged in. And this is a tiny town. So I started counting up, well, how many restaurants are doing dash? How many grocery stores are doing dash? So I started counting up all these places. And I'm like, we have this amount of places that do DoorDash, but we have, you know, just in that one shift, there's 1,000 of us logged in. And I'm like, so, this is why my DoorDash orders went down. And um, I was talking to somebody and they were kind of hateful to me. Oh, it's because you're fat and ugly. And I'm like, people don't care what you look like when they put in an order. A lot of people, they're tired. They get home from work, they take a shower. They don't want to drive anymore. They just want their food brought to them, eat their food, and go to bed. They don't care what you look like. So I'm like, that's kind of rude, telling me that I'm fat and ugly and that's why I'm not getting dashes. And so this, oh, it's because you're rude. Well, no, because I just stand in line and I go up to the counter and I say, I show them my phone. I always show them my phone. And I scroll my phone up and down. I click the button that it says order, and it has the title of what the order is, like Big Mac. Well, you click a button and it'll drop it down and it'll show you, Big Mac, medium fries, large Coke, or Big Mac, large fries, medium Coke, whatever. It shows you all of the order. So I'll walk up and I'll click the button so it drops down so that they know I'm an active dasher, that I'm not screenshotting for few. They were doing that. There was dashers caught across the country that would show a screenshot. Oh, that's your order, and they would steal the food because they're standing in line behind you, and they screenshot your phone and then they crop it, and then they go to the second cashier and say, oh, this is, and then before, and I'm like, hey, that's my order. Oh, no, you're the one, so they would call the cops because I'm like, you need to remake this order because that's my order you gave away. So the cop would show up and I would show him I'm active dashing, and my husband would get their tag number. And so they found out that they were screenshotting. So now I learned, keep my phone close to me, or to put put my thumb up across it. I put my thumb up across so that when they screenshot it, it's got a picture of my thumb in it. So I started learning how to do that. Or I'd put a sticker on my phone so that when they screenshot it, it's got that big old sticker in the picture. So I started protecting my orders that way. So so I wasn't rude to nobody. I just showed them my phone and said, this is the name and this is my order. And they'd say, well, you stand to the side or go sit down and I'll call you when the order's ready. So that's not being rude. So I started counting. I was getting less dashes because we had a ton of dashers in our local area. And like I was talking to this one lady and she says, oh, there ain't no money to be made in this town. That's why she goes to another town over. And she goes, oh, you want to dash? Go over there. They need dashers. They only got 5 that live there. And I'm like, wow, they only got 5 dashers that live in the whole town? And she says, yeah, that's why she goes over there. And my husband's like, well, how much do you make when you go over there? And she goes, well, if I only dash like a couple of hours, she says she could make like 50, $60. That's pretty good in this area. That's high pay in this area. And she says if she dashes all day over there, she make $200-$300. And my husband's like, He goes, well, we just gotta wait for that part and get the truck fixed. And and I'm like, I don't know about dashing in another city. I'm comfortable. I'm crippled. So I'm comfortable dashing in my city. You see? Because I know a lot of the people, and after 5.5 years, everybody, they're starting to know me, you know. And so, like this one guy was like, hold up, don't come in my yard. And I'm like, oh God, did he find a snake or something? And he starts moving like the garden hose out of the way and the kids' toys out of the way. And he's like, okay, you can come now. He like cleared a path for me. And some of these dashers was giving me how come he got out there and he don't clear a path for us? They're kind of getting rude about it and nasty about it. But I'm like, no, he's just being a nice guy. And he moved the stuff so I could get everything to the porch. Because I had built up dashing to his house. He said I had earned his respect. And I had earned his respect enough that he was going to make sure I had a clear path when I come to deliver to him. And it's like this one guy. His yard is huge. He lives kind of towards out in the country. Well, we kept getting orders there. And I'm like, well, okay, we'll take the order. Well, they paid pretty good. It was a good dash. It was always like $15, $20, right? And so, because they tipped real good. So I'm like, okay. So we go and we deliver, but it was hard. My husband would keep the lights on because it's a big, long yard. And I would make it to the house and I'd use my cell phone light. And okay, so the porch light didn't put out a whole lot of light. The next thing we know, we going over there after 3, 4 months of consistently 1 or 2, 3 times a week delivering to them. We go over there, and this guy is out there putting up a pole with a light, like this big light. And I'm like, wow. And he looked down and he goes, we're doing this for you, our crippled dasher. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. He says everybody's declined our orders. But he goes, man, you're a crippled dasher and you accepted the order. He goes, you rose to the challenge of getting through this dark yard. He goes, we're putting light up. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I'm thinking, yeah, they're trying to tell me that. I'm like, but they probably put it up for their relatives for their own personal use. It was probably already in their plans to put it up. And so, but he was trying to make me feel all happy and everything, right? They're putting that. So after that, I take another order a couple of days later and their light is on. And it was just so much easier to get to their porch, to get to their house. And it was just awesome that that light was there. And they tried to make me feel all happy and stuff, telling me that they put the light there just for me. That's the kind of stuff I'm running into. So, I've had some really terrible dashes where it was like, oh, I wished I never accepted this order, you know, like the ones with the dogs barking and everything. And oh my gosh, that was so scary. And these dogs just running at me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I just froze and just stood there. I used the ADT, the Dasher emergency panic button. And the people came out just as the police officer got there. And he's like, you're supposed to have your dogs put up when the delivery people come. That's even for like Pizza Hut delivery drivers. You can't have in our town. You can't have dogs running loose when people's coming to deliver. That's one of our rules in our town. Every town is different, but that's one of the rules in our town is that you've gotta put your animals up. So this is my door dashing journey and where I am. I started Dasher Perks. I am the Dasher who started posting Dasher Perks because I was seeing so much stuff on YouTube. Me and my husband are tweaking all of our bills and everything, and we found out it's cheaper electricity wise to turn off the big TV and just watch movies on YouTube. Yeah, just watch the movies on YouTube on our cell phone. It has cut our electric bill almost in half by not having a big TV, not having a DVD player, and watching movies. Plus, you don't pay for movies on YouTube; those are free. So it's readjusted our budget a lot by just watching movies on YouTube. So I was on YouTube scrolling around, and I started seeing all this stuff about all this negativity about dashing. All these videos where people just talking bad. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the reality. That's maybe 1 or 2 dashes. You're going to get on YouTube and cry that, oh, I only make $2 a delivery. Well, you knew what it was when you signed up for it. Okay? When I first signed up for DoorDash, we wasn't quite sure if I was able to even do it because of my crippled leg. So we was like Tuesdays and Thursdays I would dash at lunchtime. And just I was just like slowly testing the waters, slowly easing myself into doing it, you see. Well, it's a lot more fun with my husband. When I go without my husband, it's very lonely because you're sitting there, you're talking to him, and you're carrying on, and we're carrying on, and like I said, we started wearing holiday hats and holiday earrings. I wear the earrings, not him, and he'd wear a holiday hat. We'd put on those little headbands with the little hearts bebopping around, bouncing around. And we just have a great time. We put on Christmas hats that say ho ho ho, or have lights that sparkle, or just whatever. We wear Christmas shirts and sweaters, and we're having a blast. Just getting in the Christmas spirit of, let's dress up for dashing, you see. Or like he this year, okay, the truck broke down, so we missed Halloween. We couldn't go dashing on Halloween. He was going to get a bunch of that face makeup. And for Halloween, every time we went dashing, he was going to do his face a little different. And we were going to do the ghoulish dashing. We were going to do up our faces and kind of make it fun for the kids and everything. And make it fun for ourselves. See, we took our dashing. Dashing wasn't just a way for us to make some money. It wasn't just a way for me to be productive and try to get back in the workforce and make some money. It was also a way of connecting with each other. It was also a way of connecting with our community. It was having fun, having a blast. We was dressing up. We was, and we had started that joke of the day, you know, this month it was the cashiers who got the joke of the day, and the next month it was the customers who got the joke of the day. So we started the joke of the day where we would tell a joke. We'd have different jokes that we had like memorized, or that we had a book in the truck that we would read it and then go in and we would tell the cashier the joke. And people would laugh, and that joke ain't funny. This girl, she must have been in bad mood. That joke ain't funny. So she's moving around, and you could hear her. She's repeating the joke. And then right as my order was getting ready and I was getting ready to leave, she busted out laughing, and she goes, "You know what? Thank you. That was a pretty good joke after all." See, because she was stressed out, it took a while for that joke to bring her some happiness. So my husband's like, "Oh, we don't just deliver food, we deliver smiles." See, that was his thing. So we were doing different things as dashers. We wasn't just making money. We was making our lives better on all different levels. See, we was connecting with our town. We was running into people we hadn't seen in a long time. I got a phone call from DoorDash many times. "How come you at that location 20 minutes after you delivered the food?" Because that's a red flag. And the system, because they track your phone, the system will red flag and alert DoorDash. Because, if you've been murdered, you're going to be there for 20 minutes after delivery. If you've been grabbed and you're being assaulted, then your phone is going to be there for 20, 30 minutes. So my phone popped that I was there for 20 minutes. So DoorDash called me, "Hey, are you okay? Why were you there for 20 minutes? "Oh, we haven't seen this dude since high school. He'd moved away and he moved back." So we're sitting there like, "Hey, well, so." He gets out of the truck and comes over, and we're just catching up. We're just talking. We're just hanging out. And he was amazed at how the town has grown and things have changed. And "Oh, hey, my husband's whipping out the pictures. Hey, these are the kids." And, we're just catching up. So I'm telling, and that's the great thing about DoorDashing. That's why I like DoorDashing. They track your phone. So if you're somewhere, you drop the food, you click delivery, you go get in your vehicle, you take off. They're watching. So if something bad was to happen and you don't answer that phone, they will send the police. Because I had a police officer tell me. The next time DoorDash calls you, you answer the phone because that's why I'm pulling you over. They think something bad has happened to you and they called us to come check on you. Oh, wow. Wow. That's why I wasn't scared for my children, my girls. You got to be at least 21 to DoorDash. At least in my area, you got to be at least 21 to DoorDash. So when my girls started dashing, I wasn't scared for them to be dashing because I know DoorDash watches your phone. They watch you. You are protected. See? A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to dash for them because they're watching my phone. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, dude, they got your back. They're not watching you to hurt you. They're watching you to protect you. See? So, anyways, it's like when my truck broke down and I was like, I barely made it to the side of the road. I called my husband. I was dashing by myself and he's like, okay, just stay there. Just stay there and I'll have the boss drop me off at the truck. Well, they checked over the truck and well, I didn't know it because every vehicle is different. I ran out of gas. I had dropped off my food. I'm looking at people in the parking lot. They're close to my vehicle. I I dropped the food and I was headed home and I ran out of gas. And it was like the first 2, 3 months I was dashing and I wasn't paying attention. I was just so excited to be out doing stuff and not cooped up at the house and oh, I'm productive and I'm making some money and there for a while in the summertime I would dash during lunchtime and I would take my husband to a local place here in town and we get chocolate malt or we'd get a cold Coke and a hamburger, you see. And he really got used to that, getting off of work and me picking him up and swinging around to the store and getting a cold Coke and something to eat that's quick and, while dinner's cooking because, dudes are hungry when they get done working. And he's losing weight. He will eat when he gets home from work, and then while dinner's being cooked, then he'll eat dinner, and he's losing weight. I don't know. It's just he's moving around a lot. I'm starting to get nervous. It don't take this long for him to be in the store. I'm starting to be worried. I may go in there and look for him. So, anyways. So this is my DoorDash journey, and this is where I'm at right now in my DoorDash journey. We're looking at this vehicle. Is this vehicle going to be good for dashing or no? Am I going to have to just sell my truck, because we can't get it fixed. It needs a new motor. We can't afford a new motor. We couldn't even afford another vehicle. My brother-in-law gave us this truck. So I'm also looking at, do I need to get a different vehicle? How am I going to get a different vehicle? I had a job interview last week, and they're like, oh, well, come back next week. The hiring manager had a family emergency. Come back next week. So that's where I'm at. I am looking for another job because people are like, well, if you can dash on a cane, you can work a regular job on a cane. And I'm like, go tell that to the managers. You know, people coming up to me while I'm waiting for orders. Why don't you apply here? They're looking for people. And then one lady's like, oh no, it's against our policy, blah, blah, blah. And, so I'm looking for a regular job. And I'm looking at dashing again. Trying to. My in-laws, they really don't want me to be dashing again because of the price of gas. That's understandable. And because, oh, the wear and tear on the vehicle, you see. Well, if this one person we find out has been going under the hood and causing damage for us and just constantly giving us problems, well, he's locked up. So I doubt we're going to be having any problems dashing. The person that was messing with the vehicle is not going to be around to mess with the vehicle, see? I'm really starting to be worried. It usually don't take him this long in the store. I'm fixing to go looking for him. There's not that many people in the store for it to take this long. Besides, I gotta go to the bathroom. Unless his mom picked him up. She'll show up wherever we are and, I need you to go get gas for me. It's getting hot out here. So, unless I got to talking on this video and he's went somewhere down to the other stores and didn't tell me. I don't know. It's been, I'll give him another 10 minutes before I go looking for him. One time I did that, and he was standing in line at the register. Anyways, so this is my door dashing journey. This is where I am at. You have to have a vehicle to dash, obviously. And I'm still, I can log in right now and go dashing. You don't have to own the vehicle, you just have to be on the insurance. So, and I am on the insurance of my husband's truck, so I can drive it. But I've been respecting my brother-in-law. He was nice enough to give us a vehicle, so I'm going to respect him. And he said no dashing. Even though we need the money. We do. In today's economy, every little dollar helps. I make 150, 175, 180 a week dashing. We need that money. But I'm going to respect my brother-in-law. I'm going to respect my husband. And not dash until they say the truck is ready. So I thought I would just make this little short video. And I did start the Dasher Perks. I started it to kind of bring some happiness to YouTube. There's so much negativity going on about the Dashers. So I thought, I'm going to start Dasher Perks. I picked one thing during my dash that made me really happy. This is a Dasher perk. Beautiful sunsets. This is a Dasher perk. Oh, we saw amazing Christmas trees all over town. That's my favorites on the Dasher perks. Those are my favorites, is the Christmas trees. Yeah, So I try to be respectful with my Dasher perks and not show people's houses and not show people and just, Dasher perk. And I show it's pouring rain outside. I mean, what job can you say, nah, I ain't going today? See, that's a major Dasher perk. Nah, I ain't going today because look at the weather outside. On DoorDash, you choose. if you're going to go work that day, or if you're going to be like, no, I'm good, I'm staying home, you decide. You decide your schedule. So I started the Dasher Perks, and I would put now, Dasher Perk, not having to dash out in the pouring rain. See, so I mean, I've worked hard jobs in my life where I've had to be out there in the sandstorms and the wind and the rain and the cold and the snow, and I've done that. But it was nice to have that option of not going, I'm going to stay home. So I started the Dasher Perks to try to level up and bring some happiness to dashing. And, but this is where I am in my DoorDash journey. We're just waiting to see if we can take the vehicle, because we're not going to dash like every day like we was doing. I'm having more problems with my leg. And like I said, it's really hard for me to get in and out of this truck. And so what I'm going to do is, maybe dash for a couple hours on Saturday night. Dash a couple hours on Sunday night. Our church don't really, well, sometimes they do have church on Sunday night. And I'm watching these cars. And so, like, maybe dash Tuesdays and Thursdays, Saturday and Sunday, you know. I remember that one time, that one summer, Abel lost his job. We were dashing from 10 in the morning until 10 at night. And that was rough on me. 12 hours just dashing. That was hard on me. So I'm not doing that again. I told him we did it because you had lost the job and you were looking for another job. And that's how I kept the insurance paid. I made enough to pay the insurance and the electric and keep the phone on. Hey. So this is where I am in my DoorDash journey. And as you can see, Abel's back from the grocery store. He got paid yesterday. So we're getting some groceries, which, thank God. Thank God he got paid yesterday. Because without door dashing, we run out of groceries. That's it. We going to be hungry. Because it was go dash. Even if I made $10, $15 that day, that's still enough to get a little bit of something to eat. And that's how I was keeping us going, especially when he lost his job. That's how we were eating. I was to dash, and then I would make this amount, and I would save so much for the bills, save so much for gas the next day, and then I would buy us some food. And that's how we made it through that, what I call the job apocalypse. But yeah, this is my DoorDash journey, and I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting and participating. And I will see you on the next video.